Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Home Care You Say episode. I am Mike on the mic, and we are going to talk about how easy it is to build a relationship with your direct constituent legislator. One of the things that a lot listeners will think when I say this out loud is it's stressful to go meet with the legislator. They have important jobs and they don't want to hear from us. Well, actually, in hindsight, state and federal officials love to hear from their constituents because they want to remain in office for the most part. And to serve you, what they need to do is hear what you're thinking. They want to know what their constituents are about, what concerns them, what is important to them. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're a fan and supporter of home care. So explaining and giving the details to what home care is all about is something that, one, you could help loved ones, yourselves, and whoever it may be get that home care they need by being a fan and a supporter. And two, you're able to communicate best with a legislator what home care is all about and why it's important to you and why it should be important to them. They have to have meetings daily with people from all works of life, uh, sports to gambling to tobacco to alcohol to home care, you name it. They're having a meeting regarding it. So it's best if you, our listeners that are so interested in home care, want to be the one to deliver the message and the content when it comes to home care. And also, one of the things we always say on this podcast, share your story, why home care is important to you. So let's get started on the who. So when I say you should meet with your legislator, who are your legislators? It's not just who you see on TV, whether it be a state or a federal official. It's who you vote for. And when I say it's who you vote for, Hearts for Home Care on our website, the bottom, we have a tab that's Find Your Lawmaker. So don't be embarrassed if you don't know who your legislators are on a state or a federal level. We're here to help. So if you go down and click on that, you'll enter your home address and it will tell you from the President of the United States all the way down to the mayor in your town who your legislators are. What is key to being a home care supporter and meeting with legislators are state and federal officials. There are many reasons to meet with commissioners and mayors and other elected officials for a multitude of other things. But when it comes to home care advocacy, it is going to be your state and federal officials. So when you click Find Your Lawmaker, you're going to find out who that is. And on the state side, typically, when you're doing home care advocacy, it has to do with Medicaid reimbursed home care advocacy. And on the federal side, federal legislators, it would be regarding home health and hospice. And when you choose to have this outreach, again, know that when you meet with these legislators in their district offices, or if you're fortunate enough in your state capitals or in Washington, D.C., if you happen to live in the periphery, but when you have these meetings in their offices, going in, easy for me to say, but trust me, you are the expert in the room. 98% have no home health, home care experience, and you're the one bringing that experience and knowledge to them. They will meet with people all day and take leave behinds and fact sheets. So you're the one on the home care side that we're counting on to meet with legislators to tell them what home care is all about. So in forming the relationship, also on that handy dandy Hearts for Home Care website, when you click and find out who your legislators are, when you click on their name under their image, you're able to find out many ways to make that connection with them, either by calling, sending an email, going to their social pages and direct messaging them. There are a multitude of ways to do this anymore. My advice is always the phone call. It's least stressful. The email might not be received. If it is received, lost in the shuffle, make the phone call. Let them know who you are and that The most important thing is you're one of their direct constituents. That's what perks up the ears of the legislators and the legislative assistants who take these calls. They want to hear from you. They don't want to hear from other people that aren't their constituents, because you're the only one that could vote for or not for them. So make that phone call and let them know the why. So what is the why in a meeting you would have regarding home care? So the why is any pain points you're having receiving access, access to care issues. Uh, Staff can't be found to take care of you or your loved one. Is it something that has to do with transportation regarding your home care? Is it that the agency that you currently work with doesn't have staff in that area and you want to go there to advocate for better rates so that the agencies could hire more, either nurses or nurse aides or whomever is coming to your house? But however we see this, getting that first meeting is not just about what your ask is, but about who you are, why it's important to you to meet with the legislator that day, and the takeaways from the meeting. You also want to ask them what is their perspective on home care or home health care. What questions does the legislator have? Make it conversational. That'll actually make it really more comfortable for you during this interaction that you're having with them. But make sure when you reach out via phone, just let them know what times and days, like go into this conversation with what times and days work best for you. The meeting on your end, you should expect to meet 15 to 20 minutes is a solid meeting with any state or federal official. And when you book it and coordinate it, bring leave behinds as well. If you have any, if you are actually in the industry, leave information about your agency. If you are a consumer of home care or you have a loved one that you're advocating on behalf of, bring some pictures, bring a leave behind story about who it is that you're advocating for. They love that. Those are the things that resonate when you're having these meetings regarding home care. Then the meeting itself. So one, get there early. You already made the phone call, you coordinated the date and time. Get there early for the meeting. Interact with whomever is working with the legislator. And then when you do get the opportunity to go in, first things first, just give an overview of who you are, that you're a supporter of home care, where you reside. There'll be that initial small talk, and then get into, the why. I'm here today because I support home health, I support hospice, whatever your particular ask is, and see their opinion on it. The legislator will most definitely have questions for you on why you're there doing this. And the advice, we always give any advocate in the home care or an advocate in general is when you're having these conversations and you're back and forth with the legislator. If the legislators ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, don't make something up that's going to sound great, because eventually it'll be vetted. And if it isn't true, it'll come back to you, and any credibility that you have after that first meeting will be shot. Two things that come of this, though. One, by not making something up, you're able to say, I don't know, build that trust by getting the correct information. But two, while getting the correct information, you have the opportunity to follow up and meet with that legislator again and give them what is important to the questions they're asking. During this meeting, the last thing before getting to the hard part of the meeting, there is one hard part which isn't painful, but is the ask itself. Asking the legislator after you go through why you're there, answering any questions if possible. The one thing is your story, your personal story, and we talk about stories all the time on this podcast. That it is the personal stories that really resonate with legislators, and telling these stories face to face is just so much more impactful. They're able to see it. firsthand on your face. You're wearing that story when you're interacting with them versus sending them a message or an email or putting something on a social media post. So convey a story that is real to you. The best part about that is if it's real to you, it's not something you have to memorize when you're in the room. You're literally telling a true life experience. If you are a listener right now and you can't do a face-to-face meeting, I know we're encouraging that on this particular episode, but back to Hearts for Home Care's website, on there, you're able to share a video story with any legislator. So we always encourage that. If for some reason you can't get out and visit your local state or federal official in their district office. So after you've conveyed this story, this is the hard part. And when I say hard part, it's really not that difficult, but leaving that meeting, you want to kind of see where you stand with the legislator and going forward, what will get this relationship that you're forming to make that legislator a champion for home care, a champion for the cause that you're there advocating for. So this is where you have to ask, do you support home care? Do you support home health? Do you support hospice? After saying that out loud, sometimes the legislators like to wait a second or two to see if they don't have to answer. And I don't mean that in a mean way. If they don't answer, they're kind of off the hook to committing to that home care, home health, or hospice support. So what I do is when I'll ask a legislator, do they support while I'm there today and lay out what it is, I kind of just stick my tongue between my teeth and let it sit there and smile until they answer. Make them say yes or no. This, just like before, gives you an opportunity. If it's not yes and it's no, don't be discouraged. If it is no, you're able to say why, and they'll be honest and clear of, what hesitations they have to supporting it. But you're able to leave that meeting and reach out to us at Hearts for Home Care. Send us a message at advocacy@heartsforhomecare.com and explain, what happened at a legislative interaction that you had and how we can help. And we'll help. We'll provide you with information, either federal or state legislative interaction that you're having, on how we could best get them to be that home care champion. Couple of asides as you start to build these relationships, again, mainly in a district office, which is close to where you reside. Not everyone's going to get the opportunity to meet legislators in the Capitol, out of state, or in Washington, D.C. So forming these neighborhood or community relationships, you'll see that over the course of time, they'll reach out to you. If you visit them 2-3 times a year, give them updates, more asks, follow up to what hasn't worked out. Again, eventually, they want to champion causes and be seen as that person working for you. So it's a long game. It's not a short game with these asks. Make sure you have patience. Two, when you're having these long-term relationships, make sure if you see an opportunity to meet the legislator at one of their events, sometimes they'll host senior fairs or they'll have things in the community, for children, adults, whoever. Try to stop at those. If you're trying to form a relationship and you have an ask of a legislator, when they see that you're attending events that their name is on, they like to see that. They do. They'll put that in the vault. Third, when you have these meetings, either federal or state, more federal than state, you might meet with their legislative staff once or twice in these meetings versus the legislator themselves. Don't be upset about that. A lot of times, especially on the federal level, they have multiple staffers that are assigned to different topics such as healthcare, banking, education, etc. So the person, if you're meeting with a staffer that's assigned to healthcare or home care, meets with you, there's a good chance they're speaking your language and they'll be able to reinforce when they meet with the legislator on how great you did and what the ask is all about and communicate it in a better way. So don't be discouraged by that at all. And then at the end of these meetings, make sure you do some type of follow-up. Gratitude, thanks for taking the time at each of these interactions. Take a picture. Again, I'm not being mean by saying this. A lot of legislators love getting their pictures taken and being seen as that person in the community that is taking the time to meet with their constituents and potentially championing their causes. So if you get the chance at the end of the meeting, if there's more than two of you there, get a photo. Also send it to the legislator, and they like to post those on their own pages as well. Put it on your personal page, tag the legislators themselves, let them know how it went. What is it? More bees with, or you get more bees with honey. Like, you want to make sure these posts are positive and outgoing. If you have a conflict during the meeting, etc., try to hash that out behind the scenes, either on a follow-up email. Disagreements like that, it just looks better. When you're putting yourself out there, try to think this, as I said before, is a long game. So to be effective in the long game, if you have a short-term loss, try to address it and do that in a massaging way behind the scenes without sometimes people get emotional when it comes to those social posts. So when you're putting up the pictures or the thanks or the comments, try to be as positive as possible, understanding that you still have asks sometimes that aren't accomplished, but know that that's somewhere down the road. And to be clear, 2 to 3 times, as I said, with each either state rep or senator, and at least 1 or 2 times with your federal officials is a good cadence to start with as a home care advocate, meeting with them in district and providing them with a lot of information from your perspective and stories. And again, make sure the follow-up is there. That is key, because they are taking the time to meet with you, even though they do work for you technically. It is always nice to be appreciative of that, provide them with details where they can meet, and start to think ahead of next steps as you build this relationship. If you're someone that's in an agency receiving the care, or a family member is receiving the care, these meetings, eventually you'll get to the part where you could say to the legislator, hey, why don't you come visit my loved one, visit one of our clients in the home and see what home care is all about. That's the ultimate in terms of home care advocacy, is having a legislator come to the home of someone receiving care. So if you can get a few meetings in, bring that awareness and education to them about home care, getting to the home visit is the ultimate goal. And, we're hopeful that, one, everyone listening takes that first baby step and reaches out to the legislator for a meeting in district and builds up to something bigger. Next episode coming up, you're going to hear from Nick DeSarno on that storytelling piece. Nick is going to talk to us on our education series on June 17th, and he'll talk a little bit about how storytelling supplements these asks that you'll have during meetings, and how to get it right and be most effective when working with legislators. So a little plug with our educational session that's happening the 17th with Hearts for Home Care. And with that, thank you, listeners. We appreciate all you pod people out there that like listening to our show. Have a great day.